India Upfront, and I'm Madhavdas G. From Kashi Vishwanath to Krishna Janmabhoomi and now Harihar Temple in Sambhal. Even as Hindu petitioners across the country wage legal battles to stake claim to religious places, Congress seems to be seeing red. So much so that it has not limited itself just to public condemnations, but two Congress leaders, Alok Sharma and Priya Mishra, have now filed a plea in the Supreme Court seeking to halt surveys to establish the truth of religious nature of places of worship nationwide. This petition wants the apex court to basically stay all pending survey orders of disputed religious sites. It even goes further to ask the court to direct the state governments and lower courts to refrain from enforcing survey orders given already. The rationale being given for advocating this is that it is to maintain harmony, citing instances like claims on a mosque in Uttar Pradesh's Sambhal, on Sufi Saint Khwaja Moinuddin Chishti shrine in Rajasthan's Ajmer. The party is now pinning blame on former CJI D.Y. Chandrachud for stoking trouble.
जो दरवाजा खोला गया था 22 मई 2022 को, जब तत्कालीन चीफ जस्टिस ने कहा और ऑब्जर्वेशन किया और उसकी वजह से इस कानून को कमजोर किया गया, इस अधिनियम को एक नया दृष्टिकोण मिला। हम चाहते हैं कि जो अधिनियम है 33 साल पहले, उसको पूरे तरीके से लागू होना जरूरी है।
1991 एक्ट अभी इंटैक्ट, इंडियन वर्शिप एक्ट, उसको न सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने और न पार्लियामेंट ने बदला है। तो ऐसे हालात में 15 अगस्त 1947 की स्थिति हर जगह बहाल होनी चाहिए।
BJP has now gone hammer and tongs against the Congress, outraged over what it calls a blatant attempt to block the right of Hindus to seek legal recourse. The Saffron Party says that this move completely exposes the anti-Hindu face of the grand old party. BJP says that the very same voices that are most vocal in advocating unbridled powers for Waqf are not only tongue-tied when it comes to Hindus, but also want to deprive them of their religious rights.
उनके दोहरे चरित्र को देखिए। संविधान की बात करेंगे, लोकतंत्र की बात करेंगे, पर हिंदू पेटिशनर के पास संवैधानिक लोकतांत्रिक अधिकार भी नहीं होना चाहिए कि वो सिविल कोर्ट जाए, लोअर कोर्ट जाए। और दूसरी ओर वक्फ को अनलिमिटेड पावर्स दे दो।
हम भी चाहते हैं कि जो प्लेसेस ऑफ वर्शिप एक्ट है उसका पूरी मुकम्मल तौर से पालन होना चाहिए। सर्वे तो दूर की बात है, हम तो ये चाहते हैं इस टाइप की याचिका ही दाखिल नहीं होनी चाहिए। सर्वे तो तब होगा जब कोर्ट के अंदर याचिका बनी। हम चाहते हैं याचिका ही नहीं पड़े। जब याचिका ही नहीं डालेंगे तो सिर्फ सर्वे ही कहां से होगा।
So the big question now is, what exactly are the compulsions that are leading to a national party almost going to the extent of snatching legal rights of one community while fighting tooth and nail for preservation of entitlements of another, and even making a case for states overruling court verdicts? Let's take this across to our guest. Joining us with us is Anila Singh, BJP's spokesperson. We also have with us Dr. Anand Raghunathan, author. Karan Verma, author, is also with us. And Kamruzaman Chaudhary, political analyst, joins us on the show. Vivek Sailas is national spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party. Asif Sohail is a political analyst joining us. Let me start first and foremost with Kamruzaman Chaudhary. Kamruzaman Chaudhary, at the end of the day, when you file such a petition which seeks to, limit the execution of survey orders issued by lower courts about religious structures, somewhere or the other, isn't it taking away from the entire argument of a constitution, or the entire protect the constitution, save the constitution, when you directly are saying don't listen to court orders?
No, Madhav, good evening. First and foremost, we must understand tonight's debate on two pressings. Rather, first is the ASI Act of 1958 and the Places of Worship Act 1991. What is the argument that the Hindutwadi side is placing in the court, rather in the lower court, to obtain a survey order on a monument that is presumably a place of worship of the Muslims? In this case, the Sambhal Mosque, let us take as an example, which itself is a protected monument. Now, what happened is that the lawyers are going to the court and saying that this is a monument protected under the ASI Act, but it does not fall under the purview of the Places of Worship Act. That is the main argument. But what does the ASI Act say in the first place? It says that this is a protected monument, and any form of construction activity, any form of digging in this place is strictly prohibited. That is one argument on the ASI code. Now, what is the essence of the Places of Worship Act? Not to change the character of any religious places of worship, as it existed in 1947.
Kamalzaman Chaudhary, we are
monument
all aware of
which
these
was
laws.
Not a place
End of the
worship.
day, isn't it a fact that the
Just a
Supreme
minute.
Court itself has clarified this point?
Just let
The
me
Supreme
finish
Court
it.
has said there's nothing that bars a survey or determining of religious character.
What purpose does it serve, Madhav? It doesn't serve any purpose except for gaslighting a community in the country and creating communal disharmony.
Sir, are we now going to
say that the Sambhal...
So there's a problem here, Kamalzaman Chaudhary, because the petition is for lower courts.
Wait a minute.
The party is coming out and speaking out against the Chief Justice of India. And the same Chief Justice, the same Supreme Court has given so many orders. When the electoral bonds judgment came out, it was called a revival of democracy. Bail was given to Arvind Kejriwal and Manish Sisodia. That was welcomed.
So
when relief was given to Rahul Gandhi, it's termed a victory of truth and democracy. So what happens when there is a verdict that is against you? Every order of the court cannot be one-sided, can it?
No. Madhav, just give me one more minute. I'll finish my argument here. There is a clash of interest out here in both the acts. My point is that the ASI Act of 1958 needs to be modified right now so that one particular community does not lay claim of all the protected monuments which are supposed to be places of...
Kamalzaman Chaudhary, you're not answering my question. Your point is well considered. The point I'm making is this clash has been noted by the Supreme Court and it is given an order. Why not listen to the Supreme Court? Because if there is a clash in a legal sphere, who is going to settle this argument? That's the question that's being asked at this point of time.
So are you going to dig up a monument once it is determined that this has been temple? Are you not opening
Sir,
up
that is not the point being made over here. All right, let me put that question across to Anla Singh. Anla Singh, what happens next after the survey? Will you start digging up the monument? Because that is barred as per the ASI Act, says Kamalzaman Chaudhary.
My Ram to all. And I was listening to Mr. Chaudhary. He was saying that ASI Act should be corrected. It is wrong. But he is not going to say anything about the Places of Worship Act, which doesn't say that if any property or any monument which comes under ASI, like you cannot claim, you cannot stop doing survey there. And if survey happens there, and with all the due investigation and the proofs and the evidences, if Hindus, they win the case, then why not? Why not? Hindus should get their temple back. Because religious character of that place is of temple with all the evidences. If somebody comes, if they breaks the temple, they demolish it, they make masjid on it, and then they say, okay, now it is the monument of the Islamic people who follow Islam. It is not so. Because initially temple was there. The right of Sanatanis of going and doing puja there is there. You cannot stop it. And Article 15 says that there shouldn't be any discrimination on the lines of the religion. Article 14 says equality right. So what about that? So those people who are trying to dictate two interpretations of Places of Worship Act, they should know one thing, that it doesn't stop anyone to go to the court. And Ambedkar Sahib said this thing. The soul of the constitution is that one can go to the court and get the justice.
Right.
So you want to deny the right of the majority population in this nation of ours that you cannot go to the court. Because one political party which ruled our nation for the maximum years, they had to do and they have to do.
Okay, let me bring in Vivek Silas now, because you raised the question of worship being allowed over there earlier. Yeah, Vivek Silas, I want you to answer this question, because at that same religious structure where there is a dispute today, the argument of the BJP is that there was worship allowed earlier. And that worship was allegedly stopped at the behest of Euro Party's leader, Mr. Bark, who is no more. And the question that then arises is, and also you're seeing very many statements coming in from your party's leader, Mr. Ram Gopal Yadav, saying, all sorts of statements that protest will happen, justifying the kind of protest, the violence, etc. The big question is this at the end of the day just about appeasement politics?
No, I think at the end of the day, if any activity, such activity leads to, shaking the harmony of the country, should not happen. And let me tell you, there are 30,000 mosques all over India which are in the list. 30,000, So are we going to do this? Because the central government and the Honorable Prime Minister has said by 2047 India will be a fully developed country. But if we are going to do such activities are done nationwide, I don't think by 2047 India is going to, be at the top, what we all dream about. So definitely, I think it's a very controversial thing. I think something solid should be done about it, whether the Parliament should do it, take out a new law, or the Supreme Court should give an order which is absolutely crystal clear, so that the citizens of India or the courts or the High Court or even the lower courts follow it.
That's a very important question. I'm going to come to that and ask Anil Singh that question of bringing a new law, whether it's required from Parliament side. But Dr. Nathan, there's a very important point being made by him. He says that what is the end to this? Because we have seen how the Place of Worship Act had an exception made only for Ayodhya. Now they would be required, for some kind of a legal change, if at all exceptions have to be made otherwise, unless the courts rule. But the larger question is this, that even Mohan Bhagwat has come out to say that don't go looking for temples under mosques. So is there a valid point being made here by Vivek Silas? And how long will this go on is also a question that others are asking.
Good evening, Madhav, and good evening to my fellow panelists. Look, I was moved to tears watching recently that lawyer Dushyant Dave crying like a baby, like some other congressmen also, on the Sambhal Mosque survey, blaming the ex-Chief Justice for not exercising Places of Worship Act on every place of worship. I was moved to tears because I could not believe that this man could be a lawyer. How on earth did he manage to fool our judicial system and don the robe and defend clients? Has he even read the act? Madhav, this is not about a particular mosque or about what Dr. Mohan Bhagwat says or what my good brother Vivek Silas is saying. The end of this all is justice. This is not about Sambhal in this case, or that enough historical references exist that mention this mosque was built by Babur at a place where the temple venerating Kalki stood. No, this is about a legal claim. Are we a democracy or not? This is about the Places of Worship Act 1991 and Act Court to prohibit conversion of any place of worship and to provide for the maintenance of the religious character of any place of worship as it existed on the 15th day of August 1947. But here is the caveat, and this is what the conceited Dushyant Dave and congressmen do not mention. This act does not apply to any place of worship which is an ancient and historical monument or an archaeological site or remains covered by the Amara or ancient monuments and archaeological sites and remains at 1958, unquote. Now it is but obvious that the Sambhal Mosque is an ancient and historical monument. It's covered by the Amara Act, and therefore the Places of Worship Act should not apply to it. But point number two, here is the tragedy. A legal recourse to correct historical injustices cannot be denied in a democracy. And if they are denied, then we are not living in a democracy. Madhav, history written by the victors is peddled by the vanquished, and we remain vanquished. To me, the Places of Worship Act is one of the most barbaric legislations ever enacted in India. Historical injustices that are not covered by Amara can now never be addressed unless the Parliament overrides it. Quote, no place of worship usurped or built upon another place of worship shall be allowed to be used as one unless its ownership is rightfully settled in a court of law, unquote. This, according to me, should be the real Places of Worship Act. As simple as that. Single sentence. And this is not a Hindu issue, Madhav. If a mosque had been demolished by a Hindu king and a temple built on it, I, a kafir and a Darwinian atheist for whom Islam sanctions death penalty, would have fought for the rights of Muslims to legally get back their mosque. Finally, on this thing about where would this stop, wasn't Ram Janambhoomi enough for you Hindus? This facetious argument amuses me, especially when it comes from those who want all historical injustices around the world outside of India corrected. Madhav, the one hallmark of justice is that it has to be applied universally. Okay. Because when one goes by logic, morality, first principles, objectivity, as science and law teach us to do, numbers do not matter. 4 or 40 or 40,000, each and every cry for justice must be heard. But when one goes by fear, emotion, coercion, subjectivity, numbers matter. Decide where you stand. That is the problem out here. And as for Vivek saying, we have to work for harmony. Harmony will be disturbed every day, 5 times a day. When you say there is no other deity to be worshipped except Allah through the azan, is harmony not disturbed?
Asif Sohail, I think one of the important points being made here by Dr. Anand Ranganathan is, what about those places where there may be a situation where a mosque has been, replaced by a temple? If that is the case indeed, why not determine it? He says that he will stand by you and fight for you if that is indeed the case. क्या जवाब देंगे आप इन्हें?
माधव, मैं जवाब दूंगा इन्हें। देखिए, वो पहले अपने लिए ठहरे, बाकी दूसरे हम है देखने के लिए। देखिए, मैं कोई सर्वे को नहीं मानता हूं, मैं संविधान को मानता हूं। संविधान में जो लिखा गया है स्पेशल वर्शिप एक्ट के बारे में, उसे मानता हूं। देखिए, ना इस मुल्क का कोई कानून या न्यायालय, प्रधानमंत्री इस संविधान से कोई बड़ा नहीं है। देखिए, 500 साल पुरानी मस्जिद हो या 800 साल पुरानी दरगाह हो, उसके ऊपर उंगली उठाएंगे तो बहुत गलत बात है ये। देखिए, कब तक आप ये लोगों को जो अंडरस्ट करने की कोशिश करेंगे, इससे कोई हासिल होने वाला नहीं है। ये सिर्फ डाइवर्ट करने की कोशिश की जा रही है मौजूदा हुकूमत की। महंगाई के तरफ से, नाकामी और नौकरियों की तरफ से, रोजगार के लिए जो नौजवानों को, मैं खुली उससे बोल रहा हूं, कोई सर्वे को हम नहीं मानते हैं, हम संविधान को मानते हैं। संविधान में जो लिखा है,
कोर्ट के ऑर्डर है ना,
मस्जिदों को, हमारे बारगाहों को,
आसिफ जी, कोर्ट के ऑर्डर को मौजूदा हुकूमत से क्यों आप लिंक कर रहे हैं?
सुन लीजिए सर, मैं वही बोल रहा हूं। अरे सर, मेरी बात सुनिए सर। देखिए, वो पिटीशन में क्या लिखा गया है, राइट टू एक्सेस लिखा गया है, सर्वे नहीं बोला। मस्जिद में कौन रोक रहा है आने के लिए? आप सबका हम आपका स्वागत कर रहे हैं, आप भी आइए। हम सारे आरएसएस को बोल रहे हैं,
ऐसा नहीं है आसिफ जी। आसिफ जी, एएसआई की रिपोर्ट, एक सेकंड मेरी बात सुन लीजिए। आसिफ जी, मेरी एक सेकंड बात सुनिए। एएसआई रिपोर्ट में साफ तौर पर लिखा गया है कि इस साल की जून, one second, Asif, sorry, listen to me. I am telling you, I am countering what a point that you are being made, that you are making on the channel. Very, very clearly, ASI has written that they were blocked, not once but multiple times. सर्वे के लिए मॉस्क के अंदर जाना अलाउड नहीं था। एक तरफ तो कहा जा रहा है ये प्रोटेक्टेड मॉन्यूमेंट है, और फिर एएसआई को ही अंदर अलाउ नहीं किया जा रहा। आप कह रहे सबका स्वागत है, ऐसा नहीं है। एएसआई की रिपोर्ट है ये कहते हुए।
सर, ये देखिए, राइट टू एक्सेस का क्या मतलब है? मस्जिद में आने से किसी को नहीं रोकते हैं सर। देखिए, मसाजिद में हर किसी को, आप 800 साल पुरानी ख्वाजा,
आप बहुत जेनेरिक बात कर रहे हैं। बात संभल की स्पेसिफिक केस के बारे में बता रहा हूं मैं आपको।
सिख, ईसाई हर कोई आता है, संभल भी है। मैंने मेरी बात कर रहा हूं मैं संभल में भी बोल रहा हूं सर। मसाजिद में किसी को नहीं रोका जाता। हमारा मजहब अमन का, मोहब्बत का मजहब है। हम हर किसी को आने देते हैं, चाहे वो एएसआई हो या चाहे वो आरएसएस हो या बीजेपी हो, सबको हमारी मस्जिद में हम आने की इजाजत देते हैं। सर, ऐसा नहीं होता है। राइट टू पिटीशन की, आप जो पिटीशन डाला गया है, राइट टू एक्सेस, आपको ऑर्डर क्या दिया जाता है? सर्वे का। वो भी सुबह में आप पिटीशन फाइल करते हैं, शाम तक ऑर्डर आता है, पुलिस रेडी होती है और वहां पे अटैक हो जाता है। इसका क्या मतलब है सर, बताइए आप।
Okay, it's all a pre-planned strategy. A petition is filed, orders are immediately given, survey immediately happens. It's all a pre-planned strategy according to him. Karan Verma, and he says everybody is free to come to the mosque. Is that the case indeed? Please respond.
So, Madhav, I think Asif Sohail is an educated man. He said that I believe in the Constitution, and I take his word. So, Constitution में I'm sure he has faith in the Supreme Court. He said, मैं सर्वे वगैरह को नहीं मानता। Supreme Court 20th May 2022 says, ascertaining the religious character of a place of worship is not barred under the Places of Worship Act. ये सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कहा। ठीक है, अब ये मानते हैं आप सुप्रीम कोर्ट की बात की नहीं? सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने अगस्त 2023 में सर्वे ऑर्डर किया, इन नॉन इन्वेसिव सर्वे ऑफ ज्ञान वापी, ऑर्डर्ड बाय द सुप्रीम कोर्ट, सेड इट्स परफेक्टली फाइन टू गो अहेड विद इट. So you again, I'm sure, believe in the Supreme Court, Asif Ji. Now, when we talk of Places of Worship Act, Madhav, if there is one party, one neta who is in blatant violation of Places of Worship Act, and that has been said by the High Court on 26th February 2024, that is the Mulayam Singh Yadav government. In 1993, he violated the Places of Worship Act, stopped the worship that used to happen of Ma Shringar Gauri on the southern cedar of the Gyanvapi area. In fact, he placed iron girders and changed the nature of the place. So if there is one party, one government guilty of it, it's the Mulayam Singh Yadav government. और आसिफ जी ने कहा हमारी मस्जिद का आप कैसे कर सकते हैं? Kamru Zaman also said, how can you change the character? Absolutely, the character should not be changed. I believe this is the Harihar temple. You cannot invade it and make it. You cannot make it the mosque that you have made it. This cannot be a Jama Masjid mosque when it is the Harihar temple. So I stand with you. Whether you consider it under the archaeological sites or not, this is an invasion of a temple as we know it. You did it in
Okay.
1993 when you
Let me
stopped the
come
worship
into the
and
petition
we
itself.
have anecdotal evidence today, Madhav,
Yeah.
that till 2012, prayers used to happen. Prayers used to happen, even weddings happened in the Harihar temple in Sambhal area.
Vivek Salas,
You ask
prayers
the
used to
locals
happen.
there, what is it that they have to hide? क्या छुपाना है?
बताइए।
बदले में क्या रहने दो?
So questions for Samajwadi Party and the fact that prayers used to happen. So he says the religious nature of that place is quite different from what's being claimed. Please respond to Karan.
I think what I believe actually is we all believe in the Supreme Court, we all believe in the Constitution of India, we abide by it. But at the end of the day, as I said earlier, as you said also in your opening remarks, that a concrete solution has to be taken out. Otherwise, this has no end. It will just carry on and we'll keep debating. This will definitely disturb the harmony of the country. There's no doubt about it. If you see what is happening in Ajmer also, it's a big shrine of the Muslim community. Even the Prime Minister sends the chadar to the Ajmer shrine, and more than Muslims, I think Hindu visit there, where people of all religions go there. If we go on digging or if we go on doing such things, a concrete solution has to be taken out. That is what I can say at the moment.
Anila Singh, even the Prime Minister sends chadar to Ajmer. Are we going to start digging up a shrine like that as well? Please respond to Vivek.
All right, I just want to make 2-3 quick points here. पहली बात तो ये है, बार बार मैं सुन रही हूँ, चाहे वो विवेक जी हो और चाहे वो आसिफ जी हो और चाहे वो चौधरी साहब हो, फैब्रिक बिगड़ जाएगा, सोशल हार्मनी बिगड़ जाएगी, दुनिया भर की बातें ये कर रहे हैं. इनको समझ में नहीं आता है कि जब ये एक पक्ष ज्ञानवापी में कहता है कि मेरे शिवलिंग के ऊपर वजू किया जा रहा है, भोजशाला में एक पक्ष कहता है कि यहाँ पे मां सरस्वती का मंदिर था, यहाँ पे थूक कर आप लोग ऊपर जाते हो और उसका पूरा कैरेक्टर बदल देते हो. एक पक्ष जब ये कहता है मेरे भगवान श्री कृष्ण जी का जो जन्म स्थान है उस मस्जिद के नीचे है, और भगवान श्री राम को एक कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल आइडेंटिटी अपने आप को डिक्लेयर करना पड़ता है, और जब वो टेंट में रह रहे होते हैं एक तुलसी का पौधा वहां उगाता है तो उसके लिए भी कोर्ट में जाना होता है. एलिगेशन होता है कि ये भगवान श्री राम जो कि टेंट में रह रहे हैं, किसी सनातनी ने आकर ये तुलसी का पौधा लगा दिया है, और ये सोशल फैब्रिक की बात करते हैं, पीस एंड हार्मनी की बात करते हैं. रोहित रंजन अग्रवाल, जस्टिस रोहित रंजन अग्रवाल, he said Places of Worship Act gives us the liberty to define the character of the monument. इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? इसका मतलब हुआ कि that you can go in court. So why we means we Hindus are being denied by the political parties who are deep into appeasement. Religious character, यहाँ पर आसिफ जी बैठे हुए हैं, समर्थिन जी बैठे हुए हैं, इनके फैमिली
there are others also on the panel. I want to bring in Kamru Zaman Chaudhary on one important point. Kamru Zaman Chaudhary, have you read this petition that we are discussing today? Have you read this petition? I'm just going to read out 2 sentences. Please explain what this means. It says, direct the respondent states, High Court and Lower Court through Registrar to follow the Worship Act 1991, issue direction to the stay not stay order on all High Court and Lower Court past survey order issues notice for survey. What does this mean, Kamru Zaman Chaudhary? Can you explain this to our viewers?
No, it's very simple, what the Jains are fighting in the Girnar of Junagadh district of Gujarat, where the Hindus are laying a claim to a Jain temple out there. Its essence is the same, that you cannot lay claim over a historical past and try to weaponize history to suit your own ends right now. And what is that suit your own ends now? Is polarization of the society to gain some petty electoral votes, nothing more, nothing less. You cannot change the history. You cannot change the character as it was in 1947. We have seen how 5 lives were lost in Sambhal.
Kamru Chaudhary, simple question. If you are going to ask courts to pass orders to tell state governments to not listen to lower courts, now that will be an unusual precedent, and that's a recipe for all kinds of disasters, Kamru Zaman Chaudhary. How can such a plea be made?
No, yes, of course. That's the point. No, that's the point we are raising. On 19th November, around 12 o'clock, a petition is filed by vested interest in the Sambhal court, and by afternoon a survey order is getting passed ex parte. The SP, the DM and the police force all reach the mosque to carry out a survey. Is this the justice system? No legal system will permit without giving a notice to the opposite party. The premise of this argument is that the lower judiciary right now are biased on the basis of vested interest being influencing them. So the Supreme Court needs to come out here and bring the lower courts of justice in the country on the right track, on the essence of the Constitution, and follow.
Sir, the Supreme Court itself has not stayed the survey, for your information, Mr. Kamruzaman Chaudhary. It may have moved it to the High Court, but the courts itself have not stayed the survey. So the question of questioning the survey, I think in the recent hearing last week has been settled. But Dr. Ranganathan, you want to respond to the point being made?
No, I'm just being pummeled by illogic here, I'm afraid. These people do not believe in justice, period. You see, I'm not being patronizing out here. There are 7 of us on this panel right now, including you, Madhav. I possibly am the only one who's not a believer. I'm a Darwinian atheist. I keep on repeating this ad infinitum. This is not a religious issue at all. This is not a Hindu-Muslim issue, please. Like Ram Janambhoomi was not a Hindu-Muslim issue. It is an issue of justice. Do we believe that anybody can go and knock on the doors of the courts and demand justice? Yes or no? If yes, then anybody should be free to do it. If no, then to hell with justice and democracy. That is it. And let me ask Vivek Silas ji, मेरे बड़े भाई हैं, क्या ये कहेंगे कि राम टेम्पल जो वहां पे बना वो भी गलत था? अगर हिम्मत है तो कह दें.
नहीं, राम टेम्पल जो बना है वो सुप्रीम कोर्ट के आदेश से बना बिल्कुल, और उसमें कोई गलती नहीं है. उसमें कोई गलती नहीं है. उस फैसले का सब सम्मान करते हैं. लेकिन आनंद जी, आपसे एक सवाल है,
उस पे गलती क्यों नहीं है वो बताइए. वो डिफरेंट क्यों है? वो कृष्ण जन्मभूमि से डिफरेंट क्यों है? वो आपका काशी विश्वनाथ टेम्पल से डिफरेंट क्यों है? विवेक जी बताइए अगर हिम्मत है तो.
देखिए, आप सबसे मेरा एक सवाल है, जब डेवलपमेंट के नाम और कॉरिडोर के नाम पे 150 टेम्पल बनारस में तोड़ दिए गए थे, तब आप लोग की तो आवाज क्यों नहीं निकली? शिवलिंग को निकाल के नालों में फेंक दिया गया था. अनिला जी, हमने भी आवाज उठाई थी, लेकिन आप लोगों ने एक शब्द नहीं बोला. ना करण वर्मा ने बोला, ना डॉक्टर साहब ने बोला, ना आपने बोला. 150 शिवलिंग नालों में फेंक दिए थे काशी में, तब आप लोग की बोलती बंद हो गई, क्योंकि वहां डेवलपमेंट हो रहा था. क्या वो मंदिर नहीं थे? क्या वहां लोगों की आस्था नहीं थी? और यही एक वजह है कि माननीय प्रधानमंत्री हारते हारते जीते वहां से. यही एक वजह है कि हारते जीते. तब आप लोग एकदम शांत हो गए, एक शब्द नहीं निकल रहा.
आप लोगों ने एक मस्जिद के मसले पे, तो ये बताइए आप लोग कहाँ
आप बताइए, 150 शिवलिंग आपने तोड़ के नालों में फेंक दिए, मंदिरों को ध्वस्त कर दिया डेवलपमेंट के नाम पे, तब तो कोई बात नहीं थी. तब एक शब्द नहीं बोला.
Okay, let me come in now. Let me come in now. And I want to bring in Asif Sohail. Asif Sohail asked one question about a portion that I couldn't understand. I'm just going to read out 2 sentences. Asif Sohail or any of the panelists can help me understand. I'll be very grateful. The petitioner says in the petition, we will definitely have to go to the beginning of modern India, and in this case we will take the excavation starting from Harappan civilization, and gradually we will reach to infinity through Neolithic, Mesolithic, Paleolithic, and petitioner think that not only India but we will definitely be included in the process of exploration and mining of the world. This is actually what I'm quoting from this petition. I really don't know what this means. I'm going to read out 2 more sentences. We can definitely join that competition only by doing excavation work where America and Russia have had unsuccessful competition, and by creating such incidences we will not only reach the core of the earth, and after that only reaching the world's deepest place, Mariana Trench, where we will reach. The answer to this is nothing. Along with this, what estimate will be made on the development of India from entire excavated land surface, so on and so forth. What is the meaning of all this? I'm not able to understand. Asif Sohail, can you explain this to us?
माधव, आई डेफिनेटली एक्सप्लेन टू यू. मैडम, जो माधव ये जो पिटिशंस फाइल की गई है ना, ये हिंदुस्तान सोच रखने वाले नागपुर यूनिवर्सिटी के पढ़े लिखे लोग हैं, तो इसके बारे में तो बोल के कोई मतलब ही नहीं है. इस भारत का हिंदू
प्रवक्ता का पिटीशन है, क्या बोल रहे हैं आप?
दलित कभी कोई मस्जिद
ये पिटीशन सर क्या बोल रहे हैं? ये आलोक शर्मा है पिटिशनर. एक सेकंड रुकिए. और आसिफ जी, आप थोड़ा सा तो पढ़कर आइए. आज का डिबेट डे देखिए. इन द मैटर ऑफ आलोक शर्मा सन ऑफ ID शर्मा, फ्लैट नंबर A505, हिज एड्रेस इज देयर, एंड प्रिया मिश्रा. ये किसके प्रवक्ता है सर? कांग्रेस के प्रवक्ता का पिटीशन पढ़ रहा हूं मैं.
सर देखिए सर, इस मुल्क का मैं आपको मेरी बात खत्म को करने दो. माधव देखो यार,
मैं आपको यही बोल रहा हूं, इस हिंदुस्तान सोच रखने वाले जो अपनी पिटीशन डाले हैं वो उसके ऊपर कोई बात करके मतलब नहीं है। इस भारत का जो प्रैक्टिसिंग हिंदू है, सिख है, ईसाई है, मुस्लिम, वो ना मस्जिद के ऊपर पिटीशन डालेगा ना कभी वो मंदिर के ऊपर डालेगा। मैं यही बोलना चाह रहा हूं आपको। ये लेकर आके 500 साल 1000 साल
आसिफ जी, आसिफ जी, या पता नहीं कैसा आर्ग्यूमेंट है आपका। मैं इनके दलीलों को समझने की कोशिश कर रहा हूं और मैं चाह रहा हूं कि कोई समझाए हमें। करण वर्मा, थोड़ा सा आप हमें समझा सकते हैं। ही सेज ही डज नॉट बिलीव इन दोज हु हैव द हिंदुत्व आइडियोलॉजी, but ideology or not, at least in plain English and law, one should be able to understand what this person is trying to say. Have you understood it?
Yeah. देखिए माधव, मैं आपको एक बात बता रहा हूं और ये बिल्कुल डंके की चोट पे बता रहा हूं। कांग्रेस वाले पढ़ते लिखते नहीं हैं, बिल्कुल नहीं पढ़ते लिखते हैं। आलोक शर्मा पहले तो न्यूज स्टूडियोज में मजाक उड़वाते थे, अब कोर्ट में जाके मजाक उड़वा रहे हैं। इनको पता नहीं है कि एक चीज आ चुकी है, और हमारे आसिफ जी को भी मैं बता दूं, उसको कहते हैं रडार मैपिंग, ग्राउंड पेनेट्रेशन रडार। ये टेक्नोलॉजी का यूज हो रहा है ज्ञानवापी में भी, जहां नॉन इन्वेजिव इमेजिंग और सर्वे अलाउड है बाय द सुप्रीम कोर्ट। टुडे वी हैव मेथड्स वेयर वी डोंट नीड टू डिग, वी डोंट नीड टू एक्सट्रैक्ट, जो आप बता रहे हैं वहां पर जाके थोड़ा सा पढ़ लिख लें तो ये बात पता लग जाए। तो अब बट वी कांट, दे कांट हेल्प इट, दे आर बाउंड बाय मोदी हेट्रेड and illiteracy. These are the twin ideologies they are bound by.
Okay. Kamruzaman Chaudhary, you want to have a go? Try helping us understand how we're going to dig to the Earth's core and through Mariana Trench?
No, that's what the basic essence of the entire case that Alok Sharma ji has filed is that you go on digging, you will find some layers of history dug beneath the earth. How long will you be digging? You claim there was a temple prior to the mosque. The Jains will claim there was a Jain temple below the temple. The Buddhists will claim there is a Buddhist temple beneath the Jain temple. How long are you going to distort history and weaponize history to suit your own cheap electoral politics out here in the country? Are you going to say that 40,000 disputed sites of the Muslims are being claimed by the Hindu side? Done. I give you an undertaking. 40,000 sites are given to the Hindu side. After that, what? They will come with Brahmins and Shudras. They will come with Christians and Jains. They will come with Sikhs and Hindus.
Kamruzaman Chaudhary, if you dig a little deeper, you may also dig into the exceptions to the Places of Worship Act.
They have done that.
But Dr. Ranganathan has been wanting to respond to you. I'm going to allow him now. Dr. Ranganathan.
As I said, and the problem is logic hurts these people because they carry an agenda. I just said it, डंके की चोट पे ऐसे करण ने कहा, अगर कोई मुस्लिम भाई आता है कहता है कि ये मेरी मौत थी, इस पे हिंदुओं ने कब्जा करके इसको ढाया, हिंदू किंग ने, मुझे जस्टिस चाहिए, मैं उसके साथ जाऊंगा कोर्ट, वो भले खड़ा ना हो, मैं खड़ा आऊंगा वहां पे, आई विल डिमांड। दैट इज व्हाट जस्टिस इज। जस्टिस इज यूनिवर्सल, जस्टिस डजंट कैरी एनी एजेंडा। जो ये नीचे तीन बैठे हैं, आई एम सॉरी टू से, ये भाई मेरे दोस्त हो या बड़े भाई हो, सारे एजेंडा लेके आ गए यहाँ पे।
Okay, let's leave it there for the moment. In fact, I'd like to thank Vivek Silas, Asif Sohail, Anila Singh, Dr. Anand Ranganathan, Karan Verma, and Kamruzaman Chaudhary. Stay with us for debate number 2.